It's an emergency, a big tragedy is coming your way. Archangel Michael says this is a very urgent message for you, and he is asking you with a trembling intensity not to ignore him this time, because the feeling pressing against your spirit right now is not accidental. He has been trying to reach you again and again, through small whispers, through strange thoughts that came into your mind for no reason, through sudden chills that made your heart feel something unknown was staring at your life from a distance. He says this is an emergency, and even though your mind tries to stay strong, your soul already felt something shifting around you these past few days. You may not have said it out loud, but you felt that something was coming, something big, something that made the air around you feel heavier. And Archangel Michael says you are not wrong. Something is approaching you, but you must understand this very clearly: you are not alone, and you are not unsafe. A big tragedy was allowed to come near your path only so heaven could intervene, prove its power, and lift you above everything that was planned against you. Nothing bad will happen to you, because God is already standing in front of you, shielding your life, protecting your steps, and covering your future in divine light. But you must listen now, because timing matters. Archangel Michael says there is a reason this message reached you right now and not yesterday. Not tomorrow, but in this exact moment. There is a divine window open above you. Your spirit is being warned not because danger will touch you, but because heaven is preparing to block it before it reaches your doorway. Michael says he has been watching what has been forming behind the scenes. He has seen the shadow that tried to cross into your destiny, and he stepped forward the moment it tried to move closer. He says you felt something in your sleep recently, like the air shifting or a strange heaviness, or maybe you woke up for no reason during the night, and that was not a coincidence. That was him trying to nudge your soul awake, trying to get your attention. He is saying that he has already cut the energy that tried to pull you downward. But he needs you to stay aware, to stay prayed up, and to stay connected to God, because heaven is about to reverse something major in your life. He says there is something that tried to rise against you, but it will collapse in front of your eyes. There is a person who spoke negatively about you, but their words will not come to pass. There is someone who misunderstood you, judged you, or wished to see you fall, but their intentions are being scattered by divine justice. Michael says your spirit has been absorbing the energy of someone else's fear, jealousy, or confusion, and that is why you have felt overwhelmed, tired, or emotionally drained even when you didn't do anything intense. He says this heaviness did not belong to you at all. It was something thrown toward you, but heaven caught it before it could reach your soul. That is why he says this is urgent, because God wants to give you clarity now, to strengthen you, to remove the anxiety you have been carrying, and to remind you that you are divinely protected beyond human understanding. Michael says a big tragedy was supposed to rise near your path, but heaven has already disarmed it. What was meant to break you will not break you. What was meant to confuse you will not enter your energy. What was meant to cause pain in your life is being dissolved right now, even as you read these words, because God has decided that your destiny must continue untouched. He says a divine shield has been placed around you so strongly that even the winds trying to blow against you will be redirected. This is why he says watch fast, not because something horrifying will happen, but because something unbelievable is about to shift. The tragedy that was meant for you will turn into a blessing before it ever reaches your name. The storm that was meant to shake you will become the proof of how deeply you are protected. Something that was planned to harm you is being transformed into something that will lift you higher. Michael says you must understand that your tears, your fears, and your silent prayers have all been heard. You may have cried privately, or felt alone, or questioned why things felt so heavy recently. But he says God watched every moment, and none of those emotions were wasted. Heaven was using them as keys to open new doors for you, because when your heart cries, God listens with thunder. When your soul trembles, heaven moves with force. And now the winds are shifting in your favor. Michael says you are safe, completely safe, even though something tried to make you doubt yourself. He says your spirit is stronger than even you realize, and that is why darkness tried to approach you. But God stood in the doorway and said no. He says something you don't know is being exposed in the spiritual realm. Your name was spoken somewhere. Not in the presence of God but in the minds or mouths of people who did not carry good intentions toward you. But heaven heard it anyway. Heaven intercepts everything said about you in secret. Heaven sees everything that moves toward you before it ever arrives. God already stepped down to defend you. Something was said, something was planned, something was whispered, something was desired against you, but heaven turned every intention into dust before it could breathe near your life. Michael says that you have a destiny that cannot be touched by human fear or human manipulation. You have a divine covering that makes every hidden plan collapse before it reaches a single step in your direction. He says this is why you have felt spiritually sensitive, why your emotions have been up and down, why sometimes you felt like crying without knowing why, or felt uncomfortable in certain places, or felt your intuition warning you even though your mind couldn't explain anything. That was Archangel Michael trying to communicate with your soul, preparing you for this moment where God gives you clarity, strength, and assurance that you are protected, guided, and supported. You are not walking blind. Something inside you has already sensed what heaven is dealing with behind the scenes, and now those spiritual whispers are becoming visible through this message. Michael says not to fear what you cannot see. He says fear only rises when you forget who is walking beside you. And he wants you to know that he has been beside you for a long time, even in moments when you thought you were alone or forgotten. He has guarded you in your sleep, protected you on your travels, and shielded you from dangers you never even knew existed. He says you have no idea how many spiritual attacks never reached you because heaven blocked them before they could manifest. He says the tragedy that tried to come your way recently was one of the biggest he has blocked for you in a while. It was not something physical, not something visible, but something emotional or situational that would have drained you deeply if heaven didn't stop it. And because heaven stopped it, you are safe. He says God has seen how tired you have been recently. Even though you act strong, God saw the heaviness in your chest, the tension in your heart, the confusion in your mind. He says you have been trying to figure things out alone for too long, carrying burdens that were never meant for you. And that is why he says this message is urgent. You must release the fear you are carrying. You must stop imagining worst-case scenarios. You must let heaven take over completely, because this time, God is not only protecting you, but assigning something powerful to your destiny. Something good is coming behind the scenes, something you don't see yet. Something that will replace everything that tried to bring you down. Michael says you have been waiting for something, a breakthrough, a relief, a victory, a sign that things will finally become easier. And he is saying that the reason the pressure around your life increased recently is because the breakthrough you have been waiting for is extremely close. Pressure always intensifies right before the blessing arrives. Turmoil always rises before transformation steps in. This urgency is not because you are in danger, but because your destiny is about to shift. Do not fear the feeling in your spirit right now. It is not fear, it is awakening. It is preparation. It is heaven aligning events that will surprise you soon. He wants you to pray, not because you are weak, but because prayer strengthens the wall of protection already around you. When you pray, heaven hears you instantly. When you speak to God, your angels move. When you call out, light surrounds you like a shield. Michael says prayer right now is like fire in your hands. Everything that tries to rise against you will melt before it touches you. You are safe, completely safe, and nothing will go wrong with you because God has already taken care of everything ahead of time. Your future is sealed in divine protection. He says the tragedy that tried to approach you will become the testimony that proves God has been walking with you all along. He says someone in your life will be shocked by the way you rise above the situation you are in. Someone expected you to break, but you will not. Someone expected you to fail, but you will not. Someone expected you to lose, but God is about to make you win in a way that will silence every doubt around you. Michael says the blessing coming to you will arrive suddenly, quietly, unexpectedly, at a moment when you least expect it, and it will cancel every worry that has been sitting on your heart. He says God is not late. God is not ignoring you. God has not forgotten you. Something is about to happen in your life that will show you that every delay was protection, every setback was preparation, and every moment of confusion was shaping your destiny into something greater. He says you must trust God with your next step, because your next step is being guided by heaven itself. Michael says your life is entering a turning point. Something you thought was over will restart in a divine way. Something you thought you lost will return with more strength. Something you cried for will be restored with healing. Something you prayed for will open in a way that will leave you speechless. And something you feared will disappear before your eyes. The big tragedy that tried to come your way will become the big miracle that proves God was always protecting you. He says to breathe, to stay calm, to trust, because your angels are standing around you right now. They are surrounding your home, your heart, your path, and your future. They are watching the movement of every person connected to your destiny. They are adjusting your blessings, removing your blocks, and lifting you into the next season of your life. You are surrounded by divine light. You are protected by divine authority. And you are loved by heaven more deeply than you can understand. Archangel Michael says he is with you, watching over you, guiding you, and protecting you. He says not to fear what is coming, because what is coming is not tragedy, it is transformation. You are safe. You are protected. You are blessed. And nothing will go wrong with you because God is with you. Archangel Michael speaks with a trembling urgency today, reaching toward you with a voice that refuses to be silenced because he knows the weight of what your spirit has been carrying. He says this is an urgent message for you, and he repeats it twice because he wants you to understand that this is not a moment for hesitation or fear, but a moment for awareness, clarity, and divine protection. He says, "Please don't ignore me. I contact you because it is an emergency, and you need to hear this before the hours ahead unfold. A big tragedy is coming your way, but it will not destroy you, because God will not let anything go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. You just have to trust God and pray with sincerity, and the divine shield around you will hold strong. You are not alone in what is happening, even if it feels like the world has grown colder around you. This message comes to remind you that heaven is already preparing your escape, your covering, and your breakthrough. There are moments in life when the air grows heavy with something unseen, moments when your spirit senses a shift before your eyes can understand it. That is what is happening right now. The shift is not meant to frighten you but to alert you, to pull you closer to the only light that can guide you safely through it. Archangel Michael has been watching the movements around your life. The actions of certain people, the energy that tries to surround you, and he has been intervening quietly, blocking what could have reached you, pushing away what was meant to disturb you, and standing firm in front of the forces that have been waiting for you to fall. What you do not see is far bigger than what you do see, and that's why he tells you this message with so much urgency. Something is approaching, something unexpected, something that could have harmed your peace deeply, but heaven is stepping in before it touches you. The tragedy that is moving in your direction is not coming to break you, it is coming to expose the truth, to reveal intentions, to open your eyes, and to deliver you from the path you were never meant to walk alone. Archangel Michael says he has been whispering to you for days, trying to get your attention when you were busy or tired or overwhelmed. He tried to nudge your heart in quiet ways, hoping you would sense the discomfort, the small warnings, the little signs. You may have felt it, that uneasiness, that sudden shift in energy, the way someone's tone felt different, the way someone looked at you with a mixture of jealousy and hidden intention, the way a situation suddenly didn't feel right. This was not your imagination. This was Michael tapping on your spirit, urging you to pay attention. You have been walking in spaces where not everyone celebrated your presence, and not every smile was as sincere as it looked. You have been surrounded by people who speak well but think differently behind closed doors. And this is the time when heaven steps in to separate you from what is not meant to harm you but could have, if you stayed unaware or unprotected. The tragedy coming your way is not the destruction of your destiny, it is the destruction of an illusion. Something you thought was safe, something you trusted, something you believed in, something you held on to emotionally is about to show its true form. Not because God wants you to experience pain, but because God wants to rescue you from the kind of pain you would never recover from later. Sometimes the worst tragedies are not accidents or sudden events. Sometimes the real tragedy is living in the dark, unaware of who is truly for you and who is silently against you. And God refuses to let you walk blindly into a future that could harm you. That is why Michael speaks now, with urgency, with intensity, with a divine force behind his words. He wants you to open your heart, your eyes, your discernment. Something hidden will be revealed. Something that was being planned will be stopped. Someone who was pretending will be exposed. And in that exposure, your protection will become clear. You may feel tired, drained, or emotionally heavy, and that is because your spirit has been sensing the coming shift before your mind could understand it. You have been walking with a weight on your shoulders, feeling like something was off, something was strange, something was not right. You didn't have the words for it, but your soul felt it. That is not coincidence, that is spiritual sensitivity. You were meant to feel this moment before it arrived so that when Michael sends his warning, your heart recognizes it. You are not imagining the pressure. You are not imagining the change in the air. This is heaven preparing you, telling you to stay alert, stay grounded, stay prayerful, and stay close to God. Every time you choose faith over fear, you strengthen the shield around you. Every time you speak a prayer from your heart, the tragedy coming toward you loses power. Every time you call on God, the path of danger is rewritten into a path of deliverance. Michael wants you to know that the tragedy coming is not your downfall. It is the downfall of something that was never meant to be part of your life. Something unhealthy, something unbalanced, something unstable is about to collapse, but it will collapse away from you, not on top of you. You are being pulled out of the way, protected by unseen hands, moved into a safer place mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. God is working on your behalf with a strength that cannot be challenged. No human decision can overpower what heaven has already decreed. No hidden plan formed against you will succeed. The things that were meant to cause you harm will turn into the very things that push you toward your breakthrough. This is how God works. He turns danger into direction, pain into purpose, and fear into divine clarity. Michael also says the tragedy is not meant to break your faith but to strengthen it. You have been fighting silent battles inside yourself, questioning your worth, doubting your path, wondering if the prayers you prayed were heard or forgotten. Nothing has been forgotten. Nothing has been ignored. God has been watching your tears, your frustrations, your sleepless nights. He has seen how you kept walking even when your spirit was exhausted. He has seen how you stayed kind even when someone was unkind to you. He has seen how you held your heart together even when it felt like it was falling apart. He has seen your loyalty, your goodness, your sincerity, and he refuses to let that be taken advantage of or destroyed by anyone. The tragedy is coming to remove the thing that has been draining you without you realizing it. You will understand soon that what is leaving your life was never meant to stay. There is a moment approaching where you will feel a sudden emotional shift, a heaviness lifting, a clarity rising, a peace returning. This is not random. This is Michael standing beside you, clearing the path ahead, breaking chains around your heart, and cutting the spiritual cords that kept you tied to situations or people who were not aligned with your destiny. God does not want you trapped in cycles of pain, disappointment, or betrayal. You were created for something greater, something purer, something safer. And heaven is refusing to let anything stand between you and the life God has prepared for you. You may not see the full picture right now, but trust that God sees what you cannot, and He is guiding you with precision. The tragedy coming is like a passing storm, intense, sudden, loud, but temporary. And when the storm clears, you will see the truth that was hidden behind the clouds. You will see people for who they truly are. You will see your path more clearly. You will feel lighter, freer, stronger. You will understand why Michael came to you with such urgency. He says, watch fast. Pay attention to the moments ahead. Notice who behaves differently. Notice who acts strangely. Notice who pulls away or becomes uncomfortable. Notice who suddenly starts showing interest for no reason. Notice who tries to distract you, confuse you, or discourage you. Every behavior will be a clue. Every shift will be a sign. Heaven is helping you see what was hidden. Michael wants you to take this message seriously, not because harm is coming to you, but because truth is coming for you. And truth is powerful. Truth breaks illusions. Truth protects your heart. Truth frees your spirit. Archangel Michael calls out to you in a voice that trembles with urgency, a voice that has crossed realms just to reach you. Because the time has come for you to hear what has been hidden from your understanding for too long. He stands beside you even now, wings wide, sword drawn, not to scare you but to protect you from the shadows that have tried to whisper fear into your spirit. He speaks your name with deep concern, saying that this is not the moment to ignore, delay, or doubt. He says he has been trying to reach you through signs, through sudden thoughts, through restless nights when your heart felt uneasy without explanation. He says you felt that something was off, and that feeling was not imagination, it was a spiritual nudge telling you to be alert, to stay close to the light, to trust that God has been preparing you for something that is unfolding even as you read this. Archangel Michael says the reason this message feels intense is because your destiny is intense. You are not an ordinary soul walking an ordinary path, you are someone whose life carries purpose far bigger than you can currently see. You have been shaped by storms, tested by losses, strengthened by betrayals, and purified through pain that almost broke you. But you did not break. Instead, you became someone the divine realm pays attention to. Heaven knows your name. Heaven knows your wounds. Heaven knows your resilience. And heaven knows that a moment is approaching where you will step into the next chapter of your life with a strength so bright that even the darkness trembles. The tragedy that Michael speaks of is not meant to scare you. It is meant to awaken you. He says something is trying to come toward your path, something that would have disrupted your peace, your progress, your blessings, if you were not spiritually warned in advance. But the reason he is telling you now is because you are not supposed to face this unprepared. You are not supposed to be caught off guard. What could have harmed you will be stopped before it reaches you, because this time, you are choosing to hear the message, you are choosing to respond, and you are choosing to trust. Michael says that for weeks, maybe months, a subtle spiritual war has been happening around you, one that you could not see but could feel. Nights where you felt uneasy for no reason, sudden anxiety that came out of nowhere, moments where your intuition told you not to trust someone even though they smiled at you. These were not coincidences. These were warnings, signals, whispers from the divine realm trying to help you understand that something was shifting around you. Heaven saw a shadow forming before you did. Heaven heard conversations you weren't present for. Heaven saw intentions hidden behind masks. Someone near you, or connected to your energy, was moving in a way that could have affected your spirit, your peace, or your future path. And that is why Archangel Michael has stepped in so forcefully, saying this is urgent and should not be ignored. He tells you that tragedy was trying to approach your life in the form of emotional damage, betrayal, deceit, or sudden chaos that could have distracted you from your destiny. But now that he has intervened, the energy around you is changing. What was meant to reach you will now pass by you. What was meant to harm you will get confused. What was meant to steal your peace will fall apart before it gets close. You are being pulled out of the line of fire before a single spark touches you. That is the power of divine protection when you choose to listen. Michael says you need to understand how precious your life is in God's eyes. Every moment you cried alone, every fear you carried silently, every time you felt misunderstood, heaven was not distant, heaven was watching. God has counted every tear, every disappointment, every moment of loneliness you never expressed. And because of that, God has determined that this is a season where you will not be touched by the shadows that once weighed you down. This is a season of awakening, but first, you must become aware. Awareness makes you strong. Awareness makes you alert. Awareness brings clarity. Awareness allows heaven to do what heaven needs to do for you. Michael says the tragedy that was meant to come toward you was connected to chaos created by someone else's hidden actions or decisions, something you were not responsible for but would have been affected by. He reminds you that sometimes the biggest spiritual dangers do not come from strangers but from people who pretend to care. This is why he is urging you to stay spiritually grounded, to stay close to God, to trust the instincts that rise inside you. You are not imagining the shift you feel in your soul. You are sensing the movement of angels positioning themselves in your path. He wants you to know that you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you when you place your trust in the divine. The tragedy is being blocked. The danger is being exposed. The intention behind the scenes is being unraveled. Archangel Michael has already stepped into the situation. He has already begun deflecting the energy that was forming against you. He has already placed a spiritual shield around you, one that glows with divine authority. He wants you to breathe and remind your heart that you are being protected in ways you cannot fully see. He says you need to stand strong because what you are about to enter is a season of breakthrough. Every time a breakthrough approaches, the shadows try to create chaos. They try to shake your spirit, delay your blessings, or distort your intuition. But they are failing this time because the divine realm is acting faster than the darkness can move. This is why everything feels urgent. This is why the message came to you today. Because the path ahead of you is sacred, and God has decided that nothing will interrupt what is meant for you. Michael says you are stepping out of an old cycle of pain and entering a new cycle that will bring healing, clarity, and restoration. But before entering that new cycle, you must let go of the old spiritual weight you have been carrying. He says your heart has been heavy, not because of weakness but because of spiritual sensitivity. You are someone who feels deeply. You are someone who absorbs the energy of people around you. You are someone whose spirit is more open than you realize. And because of that, you have carried burdens and emotions that don't even belong to you. The tragedy was attempting to exploit your sensitivity. But today, that ends. Michael speaks with a trembling voice, saying he has been fighting for you in spiritual realms. He shows you the scars of battles fought for your peace. He shows you the light he used to break through a darkness that tried to surround you. He says you were never alone, even when you felt abandoned. He says you were never unprotected, even when life felt painful. You were never forgotten. Heaven has been guarding you with more intensity than you could imagine. He says the next few days are important. Not dangerous, important. Important because your energy is shifting. Important because blessings that were blocked are coming back. Important because clarity is about to reach you. Important because someone who has been pretending is about to reveal their true intentions. Important because your intuition will sharpen, and you will begin to see the truth behind situations you once felt confused about. Michael also says that a blessing is hidden inside this warning. What was meant to be a tragedy will transform into a breakthrough. What was meant to create fear will instead create strength. What was meant to close a door will open multiple doors. The moment you choose to trust God, everything begins shifting. The moment you surrender your fear, the divine takes control. He wants you to pray, not out of fear, but out of connection. Prayer is not a shield of desperation, it is a declaration of power. When you pray, you align yourself with God's protection. When you pray, you activate angels that stand guard around you. When you pray, you rise above the energy that once tried to pull you down. Michael says you must understand, you are not cursed, you are chosen. You are not unlucky, you are protected. You are not in danger, you are being guided. Things are not falling apart, they are being rearranged so that what is truly yours can reach you without interference. He says you will soon notice signs. Unexpected messages. Sudden intuition. Dreams that feel real. A shift in your surroundings. Temporary discomfort that leads to clarity. These signs are not accidents, they are divine confirmations telling you that heaven is working on your behalf. He repeats again, you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. Something was trying to come near your path, but it has already been stopped. Your future is not threatened. Your blessings are not delayed. Your destiny is not shaken. God has already intervened. Michael says he is standing beside you now, saying that you must not ignore this message because it carries the energy of divine protection. His wings create a barrier around your spirit. His presence brings a calm that no darkness can disturb. He whispers to you that this message is not about fear but about protection, guidance, and divine preparation. He says you are entering a powerful phase of awakening. Everything that once confused you will become clear. Everything that once hurt you will become distant. Everything that once blocked you will begin to move. You will rise. You will glow. You will heal. You will be restored. You will be protected, and he says one last thing with absolute certainty, God will be with you. Nothing will go wrong with you when you walk with God. You are safe. You are protected. You are chosen. Archangel Michael speaks to you with a breath that trembles like the wind moving through ancient mountains, and the moment his voice reaches your spirit, he tells you that this message cannot wait. He says he has been trying to reach you quietly, gently, softly, but now the time for silence has passed. He whispers your name with so much care that the air around you becomes still. As if all of creation is listening to the very words being woven for you. He says this is an emergency because something is shifting in the unseen world, something that wants to reach you before confusion reaches you, something that wants to protect you before fear tries to come close. He says a tragedy is near you, not to break you, not to frighten you, but to warn you with enough time so that it loses all its power. He says you must watch. You must listen, you must stay awake in your spirit, because God is covering you like a shield made of warm light, and nothing born from darkness can cross the line God has drawn around your life. Archangel Michael says he has seen what was meant to approach you. He has seen the thought that tried to rise against your peace. He has seen the shadow that formed from someone's envy or carelessness or misunderstanding, and he says the shadow was bigger in intention than in reality. He says the moment God noticed the movement of that shadow, God stood up like a wall of light and said, "Not this one. This one is protected. Archangel Michael says this is why he comes urgently, not to scare you, but to remind you that when something tries to approach you, heaven always sees it before you do. Heaven always blocks it before you feel its touch. Heaven always shields you before you even know there is something to be shielded from. He says you worry sometimes because your heart is sensitive. Your soul is kind, your mind absorbs more than you speak, and you feel energies even when people say nothing. He says this is why you are being contacted now, so that your spirit knows God is ahead of you, not behind you, holding the road you walk on with care. He says the tragedy you sensed, the one you felt like a whisper behind you or a sudden heaviness in your chest, was not a message of doom but a signal for you to tune yourself to the voice of heaven. He says sometimes your intuition picks up the vibration of something that was meant to come but will never reach you, and because your heart is so open, you misunderstand the feeling as danger when it is actually a divine alert that the danger has already been defeated. He says the heaviness was your spirit detecting something being removed from your path. He says you must understand the difference between danger approaching and danger being destroyed at the gates of your life. He says what you felt was the second one. It was already being taken away. Archangel Michael says you must not ignore this message because you are entering a turning point in your journey, a place where the road splits between fear and faith, and he says he will not allow you to take the road of fear even by accident. He says you are walking into a season where the light around you is becoming brighter, stronger, and more protective, but when light becomes brighter, shadows try to become louder. He says shadows can only pretend, they cannot touch you. He says what tried to come your way was not something that could harm your soul or your life, it was something that could have confused you if you didn't receive this message in time. Archangel Michael says God is watching you with more love than you have known in years. He says the universe has been whispering signs to you, showing you symbols, sending you dreams, and giving you those moments where you suddenly feel something shift inside you even without knowing why. He says all of this has been preparing you for the moment you are reading this. He says you are not reading this by accident. He says he has been trying to reach you through numbers, through sudden thoughts, through strange feelings of being guided. He says now he speaks clearly because clarity is needed. He says the tragedy you fear is not a tragedy that will fall on you. He says it is something that will be dissolved before it reaches your doorstep. He says someone's words, someone's actions, or someone's negligence could have created stress for you, but God saw the root of that trouble and cut it from the ground. He says you will be protected not only